Hello and welcome to my channel, Distinctive Crochet. My name is Priscilla and today I want to talk about the original name that I had come up with for my channel. So the original name I come up with was Painting with Yarn. I had come up with that name because I believe as crocheters we're artists. And I know that it is called a needle art. However, when most people think of crochet who are not crocheters themselves, they mostly think of it as a hobby. And I really wanted to present um, my channel as an art form. So that is why I had come up with that name. I even went as far as making a paint palette, um, and I put little scrap balls of yarn around it for the color, and I also made something to go with that to put on the picture, um, just for my little picture thumbnail that you see when my channel comes up. I was really excited about doing that project just to tie it in with the painting with yarn. So I want to go ahead and show you the thing that I made. Before I say what it is, I want to see if you can guess because my husband didn't know what it was and my kids didn't know what it was. So I want to see if you can guess and see what I made. So let me grab it. Okay guys, here it is. Now don't laugh, but let's see if you guys, my fellow crocheters, let's see if you guys can get it. Because you know we crochet all the time. So let's see. Can you guys guess what that is? Let's see. Hmm. Okay. Now, if you haven't shouted it out yet and you're really confused and you don't know what it is, let me show you. Here's the twinsy. It's supposed to be my letter J crochet hook. So I don't know if I did a good job on it or not. Maybe you guys can comment down below. Let me know how I did. But my husband and my boys didn't understand until I showed them my hook. And then they were like, I'm like, it's my crochet hook. So hopefully you guys got it. But I made this to go across the paint palette. And I'm going to go ahead and try to insert a picture here. Okay, so if that worked out well, you guys saw the picture of the paint palette with my crochet hook on there. And so I was trying to really kind of tie in the whole art thing with my channel. Now the reason why I changed the name was because when I searched, I actually ended up making a video under that name. And then when I searched painting with yarn to see if people could find me, so I kind of did it backwards. I probably should have searched the name first. But when I searched the name painting with yarn, there were a lot of videos that came up with people actually painting with yarn. Yes, guys, it's a thing. So I had no idea that that was actually a thing, and I didn't want people to get confused with my channel being a crochet channel and then people actually painting with yarn. So I haven't watched any of those videos, so I'm not sure what that's exactly about, but I was just really nervous about that confusion. So I went ahead and changed it to Distinctive Crochet because I always like my projects to be a little bit different. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was the video that I had made. The video that I had made talks to you a little bit about the past 4 years and how I really began crocheting so much and how it really became a passion of mine. But before I show you that video, because I am going to tag it on, before I show you the video, I did want to explain a little bit about how I started crocheting. Um, and so how I started crocheting was, actually I'm going to go back even further. So I remember when I was young, I'm not sure the age, but my sister had went away for um, for the summer to a friend's house, and she had come back and she had this blanket, And I was like, well, where'd you get that from? And she said she made it. And I was like, really? You made that blanket? And it was a crochet blanket. And I was just really proud of her. And I was like, wow, how did she do that? And it was just kind of stuck in the back of my head. And then I remember years later, I had went to a friend's house and I saw this beautiful colorwork blanket that was in the shape of the United States of America. And it was done so well, and I couldn't believe that it was handmade. And I didn't even know that it was crochet because it had looked so different. Like the blanket my sister made had like double crochets and things like that. Like I can remember, now that I know what they are, I can remember what it was. But that blanket, I had no idea because it didn't look the same. That blanket, now that I know how to crochet, was actually done in a Tunisian stitch. And so years later, I had gotten married, and then we were pregnant with my first son, and my mom had come over, and she brought me a um, teach yourself how to crochet kit. And so she stayed with me that afternoon, and she sat with me and showed me a few stitches. And guys, I was so bad at my turning chains. I was just lost. I had no idea. So she stayed with me quite a while, and we kept practicing. And then after she left, I had put it down for the rest of that day. But then I went back and I kept trying to practice and practice. I really had wanted to make something for my son, so I kept practicing. And then I got better, and I finally figured out what I was doing wrong. And so that's kind of like how I started crocheting. And after I made my son's baby blanket, one of the first big projects I made was a Tunisian blanket. And my husband was enjoying what I was doing. He said, wow, that's coming out nice. So he kept telling me, make it bigger, make it bigger. So um, it was like long strips of Tunisian in different color blocks. And then I had to sew the strips together. That's how the pattern said to do it, because it was like a color work blanket. So I had done that. And then some years later, my when I had my second son, I had wanted to make him a blanket. And so that was also a Tunisian crochet blanket. And so I'm going to go ahead and insert the picture here. Okay, if all went well, you saw that picture of that blanket. And then when I started watching YouTube, I had found out how to do the corner to corner stitch, which is one of my very favorite stitches. I use it all the time. And I really enjoyed the color work that you can do. And the first thing I did was I made my mom a Ruana that had a butterfly. I designed the whole chart myself, and that is what you guys see when you go to my homepage banner. It doesn't really show well there, so I'm going to go ahead and insert a picture here of that. And also I made um, I had seen Terry from the Yarnjoy podcast. In one of her early videos, she had made a corner to corner blanket with some Mario motifs in there. And she explained how she used the perler bead charts to come up with her charts. And so I went ahead and did the same, and I made a blanket, another blanket for my son there. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a picture of that. Okay. So now that you guys have seen those pictures and know a little bit about how I got started crocheting, there was also a lot of information in this video that I had took down because I do say my original channel name in there, and I explained to you about that a little bit. So I didn't want to leave that video up, but it did have a lot of good information and a nice little story I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put the video on. I'm going to go ahead and put the video on after this. And so I hope you guys stay and watch that video as well. And thank you again so much for joining me and spending a little time. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and here's that video. Hello artists, welcome to my channel, Painting with Yarn, where our paintbrushes are needles and our paint palette is our yarn stash. My name is Priscilla and I'm coming to you from Michigan. I've been crocheting for about 11 years and I've been knitting for 2 years. And about up until 4 years ago, I was just an on and off crocheter, just doing mostly blankets and hats and scarves. But what happened 4 years ago was when I took my kids to the library, I decided to see if they had any crochet books. And so I went over there and I picked a couple books, and one was um, Convertible Crochet by Doris Chan, and then the other was Creating Crochet Fabric by Dora Ornstein. And so when I saw the words crochet fabric, I didn't really understand that as we're making each stitch, we're building a fabric. And I just thought that was so cool and awesome. I had never put that together before. I didn't understand that what I was doing was actually building a fabric. I was really amazed by that. And I was hooked from there. So I wanted to know more. I wanted to see what other books were out there that had crochet items and what else could be crocheted. And I just went searching on Amazon and I just saw all the different books. And I was like, wow, this is like way beyond I ever even thought. So from the convertible crochet book, when I was looking through, I was just really intimidated by the patterns from all the motifs and everything like that. I just kind of had put it aside and I didn't make anything from it at first, but there was just that one pattern in there that just really stuck out to me, and I knew I had to make it. So I ended up rechecking the book out, and then I got started right away. I had made the motifs and then I realized that I was supposed to connect them as I went. So I ended up having to take some back. And then once I got the idea of how to put it together, I was so impressed with what I had done. And then I got to the slip stitch ribbing and oh boy, that was a mess. I kept adding too many stitches, and then if I wasn't adding them, I was taking them away. And I spent more time on the slip stitch ribbing alone than the whole time it took me to put the motifs together. So it was really an interesting process that I had to go through with that. I was first intimidated, and then now I wasn't even getting the pattern right. But I knew I couldn't quit and give up. I had to keep going. So that's what I did. And that's the pattern that you see on the mannequin behind me. I'm not sure the name of the pattern itself, but I know you can find it in the Convertible Crochet book by Doris Chan. So I'm pretty proud of it, and I definitely want to try it again. I'm not sure when I'll do that, but I do want to try it again because this definitely had a lot of mistakes in it. But it was my first ever garment, so I'm pretty proud of myself for taking on the challenge and completing it. So I won't ever wear it, but I'll keep it around just for the inspiration. So I also wanted to say that when we are creating, not only are we creating fabric, but we're creating art. And that's why I wanted to name my channel Painting with Yarn, because I believe that what we do as crocheters and knitters and pretty much any other craft is we are creating art with our hands. And I think that is something that's important that kids should, that it should be around, that people should be introduced to. There's um, so many different crafts that you can do with your hands and make something special and unique. And I think that's important to have around in these days. So I'm so excited to come on YouTube and share with you guys some of the things that I make and what I do, and just share and see what you guys think. It's really an awesome platform to have YouTube. I've learned so much from other YouTubers, and I'm so excited to be on YouTube myself now. So some of the other things that I make are I may also make amigurumi toys, and I've also been designing. So I'm pretty excited to share with you guys some of my designs and some tutorials. So that's going to be awesome as well. And I plan on also doing some yarn hauls and just stick around and see what else may come up. So I hope you stick around and see what's coming up next. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.